traveling, and the town he called his own. Departed through the cosmos where no earthly seeds are sown. In search of that elusive tool, he gave his life to try. Now the space corpse goes orbiting by. Oh, goodbye, my friend. In the glowing twilight's cry, and they will echo through the void where the galaxies all lie. Oh, we miss you on Earth. We're lifting hearts up high as the space course goes orbiting by.
Good evening, everybody. It's your boy Stoney coming to you live from the TCM Museum of Minnesota. Of course, it's the Space Corps podcast. It's Friday night, baby. We're always live every Friday night, usually 8:30. We're kicking it off a little bit earlier, and I'm actually kind of excited about that because these days get long, man, waking up so early in the morning. But big shout out to the sponsors. Of course, the show is not possible without the help of the lovely TCMFanclub.com. That is the end-all, be-all spot to be for anything TCM related. Our co-producer Gilly built this with his blood, sweat, and tears, completely free. What a sweet man. And on top of it, there's a really cool community over there with an old school message board. So check it out. Show some love there. And of course, if you like the show, you want to support, the merch store is open too. So shop.spacecorpspodcast.com. Get all the TCM Museum stuff. Join the Space Cadet Army, whatever you want to do. And I am pleased to say the Half Moon Design Space Corps podcast collabo is now officially sold out. So you snooze, you lose, baby. We'll see what we do in the future. It was a great success. I appreciate everybody that showed the support. But enough of that. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening I have an amazing guest once again. And this man has got an excellent career. Cannot wait to talk to him, not only in the music industry, but he also was in the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is Mr. Ed Guinn, everybody. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Howdy. How's it going?
It's going, man. I'm so happy you decided to do this. I can't thank you enough.
My pleasure.
You know, I had Perry Lawrence on a few weekends ago, and he heard that you were coming on. He goes, "Oh, you got Ed coming on." He says, "You got to talk about, the music side." And I really started to dig into the psychedelic 70s era, and you had a really big part in that. Was that all in San Antonio?
60s.
60s.
60s. And in Austin is where we started.
Oh, beautiful.
Yep.
So when you started that, was it two different groups or bands that you were a part of, or how did that go?
Well, we had the original band, which was the Conqueror, and that I think we formed in 66 and played for all the way up to about 70 or so, 70, pretty much our last kind of form as Conqueror. In San Francisco. We wrapped it up there, and then came back to Texas, back to Austin, and with a few guys, some of which were in the band originally, we started Texoid, which I thought was always a great
that's cool
name for a band. Yeah. And Texoid played for a couple of years, and that was about it.
That's amazing. And I heard through the grapevine that you knew Janis Joplin, and
oh, yeah.
Did you ever do anything musically with that? Were you ever kind of in the same area of her with that? Or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. No, Austin was a little town, so everybody who knew anybody knew everybody.
Sure.
If they were cool enough to be known, And Janis wasn't here that much, but yeah, a few times we hung out together, and the folk scene was really the end all be all. And I'm talking about 63, 64, 65. Okay. And that was really musically, I can tell you two things that directly are involving me with Janis and her career. one of my best friends, my best buddy since I was 18, was the guy that took her to California,
Really?
and got her in front of Big Brother and all that. So anyway, what I was going to say was one of the things that is more musically tying me to Janice was a they needed a bass player, and so the band was winding down. I thought, okay, well, I'll come try out. I don't know why they needed one. Maybe somebody was out for a few months or something, but went and auditioned, but it wasn't a fit, didn't work.
Okay.
And then what was the other thing that we did with her? Crap, I've forgotten, but it'll come back to me.
Sure, no
One of
problem.
the disadvantage of being in your 80s is things kind of blip in and blip out,
Oh, no problem. Musically then was bass the main instrument and things you played, or you kind of do you
No,
dabble in some other?
I'm a keyboard player and a composer. That was my entree,
Wow.
as a writer. And so I played bass in the band because, it's the classic thing, the fat guy gets there last, he gets the bass. So I didn't I didn't seek the instrument out, but it was much more practical to play a stringed instrument in a rock and roll band than to drag around what I ultimately did, drag around uh, you know, keyboards and organs and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Not initially for a little barely college band,
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to tell you about Janice and I was the first when we moved to San Francisco. The first gig we did was with her and Big Brother
Oh, wow.
in Golden Gate Park, and we were the baby band on the scene. We had just gotten there
Okay.
about 2 weeks before, and so it was us as the opening, Santana as the middle band, and then Big Brother and Janice as the yeah.
That's amazing.
It was pretty cool.
So, like, was the vibe of that era as they kind of seem to portray it nowadays when you just however they kind of recollect on it? Like, do you think that they kind of captured like the true feel of it? I mean, is that do you kind of like look at these and you go, that's not how it was at all?
Yeah, no, I think definitely. I'd say I can't think of anything that miscast or misportrayed the vibe that was that time.
Sure.
Maybe some stupid, Hollywood movie that attempted to do it,
Yeah.
but
And didn't do their research.
right, or it didn't matter, that.
Sure.
And but yeah, I think it was a good time and a well respected, if you will, time. People
Sure.
tried to do the right stuff for the right reasons. There was a lot of that going around.
Oh, excellent.
I think people are a lot more jaded now than we used to be, but
Sure.
of course you were babies too. I was 17, 18,
Yeah.
children.
Yeah, I think it definitely was a lot less money driven back then. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure
there
there's
wasn't
always
any money.
there's always the idea of chasing fame and things, but it just seems so much more just of a free expressionary, a true
Yeah.
artistic, instead of
Yeah.
calculated.
Well, we were all trying to be, stars, but we had no idea what it meant.
Yeah.
We had no idea. We thought if we practiced real hard and played real well, people would go, "Wow, that's fantastic." But
Sure.
not so much.
God, it's wild. We got some people in the chat. Mr. Chris Atkins, he says hello from Fort Worth. And
Oh,
then we have
well.
one of my other friends, Sean Fuller, in the house, and he says it's great to see Ed on the podcast. He is in the San Antonio area as well, and delves with doing some signings and things. So you may have ran in with him before too, with some kind of events. So he does Slashers Stashers, and he's got kind of an online
Oh.
storefront, and they organize a bunch of cool, great things for our friends down in Texas. So.
Yeah, I think I've seen his stuff. Perhaps I don't remember doing an event with him, but
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
And of
excellent.
course, if your buddy up there in Fort Worth goes to the corner of Rosedale and I-35, he'll see the name Guinn written on a building there.
All right.
Fort Worth is my father's town.
Oh, okay.
And my grandfather was a big educator, and they had a school named after him and all that kind of stuff,
Oh, wow.
in Fort
That's
Worth.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, how did you first meet up with Bob Burns? Because you two worked together prior to the Texas Chainsaw movie, right? Did you score a couple
Yeah.
of his, pieces he
Not
was?
not before, but after Chainsaw.
Okay, all right.
Uh, but yeah, no, Bob and I go way back. Both of us worked for what was very popular then, and I don't think any exist anywhere anymore, college humor magazines.
Okay.
So at UT, the college humor magazine was called the Texas Longhorn, Texas Ranger, and the it was just a magazine full of stupid jokes and stories, and our attempt at being risque, a girl in a bathing suit,
Okay.
that the college censors, would go over with a fine tooth comb looking for, he gnawed her tits off kind of, words.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that joke?
Yeah.
Burns would do stuff like put ads in the phone book because you could do that for pennies, classifieds. And he had one that was looking for such and such. He gnawed her tits off was his name. 2 words. First name he gnawed her, second name tits off. That kind of silly shit. But
That's awesome.
yeah, so we worked for the College Humor magazine. I was just a stupid kid who stood on the corner and tried to talk other kids into giving me a quarter or a dime, whatever it was, for one of the
Mhm.
magazines because we had to make money. But
Sure.
the real reason I was there is because uh, on the weekend, I think it was Friday, but maybe it was Saturday, after we'd done all our good work of trying to hawk these silly magazines around the campus, we'd have a beer party, which was the main reason I was doing it.
Sure.
And all the freebie kids like myself would get to go to a keg party and drink beer and be regular cool guys, or girls. And so Burnsy, I knew him there from that because Burns was one of the editors of that magazine,
Okay.
and we knew each other. We're talking about 63 or so. And so I stayed in touch with Bob throughout the 60s, and then he called me up out of the blue, said, you still have that truck? Yeah, of course. And they needed a truck driver. And I said, okay, fine, I'll show up
Yeah.
7:30 in the morning. Didn't even know what it was for.
So, and I want to ask about that then too. So the trucking company now, the actual Black Maria, that is your legitimate business that you had started with. Was that with your brother or your cousin?
Brother-in-law,
Okay.
brother-in-law, Tony.
So,
Hmm.
so I mean, just think. I mean, this got. I mean, it really predates the whole mindset of advertising and movies and whatever. But you also had your company in this movie that took off. I mean,
Yeah.
did after the movie came out, how long did your trucking business still stay active?
Oh, not very long,
Okay.
maybe another year or two.
Okay.
But nobody here ever saw the movie. Nobody knew anything about the movie.
Mm,
It was like a lot of things. It looks real big now up close, but back then it was it was invisible.
sure.
It was being shown in little theaters and you know sticky floored theaters and crummy little towns all over America.
Sure.
But no, I didn't see the movie from the night of the premiere, which was whenever it was,
Mhm.
74, I
Yeah.
guess. And I didn't see the movie again for 40 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, no. I didn't know anything about horror conventions. I didn't know anything about any of it
Sure.
because that was a different world from what I was involved in or
Oh,
interested in.
absolutely.
I was doing music production for, 25, 30 years after the band stuff. Um, and that was my focus. And I didn't know anybody that I'll bring you up to speed on a couple of things about the movie.
Sure.
I
Please
knew
do.
Ed because Ed and I had done One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I just played the part of the mute Indian and just sat passed out on the stage in a chair most of the time. and I think I forget the part Ed played, but I've got a program around here somewhere I need to dig up.
Oh,
But
cool.
so I knew Ed, but and Burns and Gunner, but I didn't know anybody else and didn't see them because the only people I knew for that 40-year span was uh, not even Marilyn. I just saw her on that set that day and never saw her again for 40
Oh,
years.
really? Wow.
Nope, nope. And uh, but Gunner was on the set, Ed was on the set, and Marilyn was on the set, and those are the only actors that I ever met on the set
Wow.
before or after, frankly, until about 40 years later when I did Butcher Boys for Kim and
Yeah.
his company, and they told me about these conventions and I should, you know, go to one and blah 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 blah, and I had no idea what they were talking about. And they brought me this poster for me to sign. Said, "Would you sign this?" I said, "Yeah, whatever." And but they put me in touch with Lloyd, and Lloyd helped me get images from that he pulled from the CD or whatever it was then, the
Yeah.
DVD, and got me some stuff. And I got a few way too many prints printed up, and went to the first convention. I think it was 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, 2011, and it was Ed, me, and Gunner, and I was just blown away, man.
Yeah.
There are a lot of fans out there.
I mean, was that what did that feel like? I mean, it's just an overwhelming was it kind of like an eye opening like oh, this
Oh
is so
God,
much
yes.
more than I thought it ever was?
Way more. No idea.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to visualize from perhaps your perspective or some of the fans' perspectives who have been involved in this movie and enjoying it and talking about it and producing product and yada yada yada. But I knew nothing.
Yeah.
And nobody I knew anything, you know? I know nothing, Mr. Faulty.
Eh, well, it's just it's such a it's such an unexpected you know whole side of the coin for all of you also, and just to be able to just personally connect with all these people that just the diehards, the fans, and you just see you're like wow, like this was you know what that's done for people. I mean obviously it's a horror movie, but still it's I mean they're just for some people it's
It's
just
big stuff. It is
it,
big stuff. You
yeah.
cannot you cannot give it enough credit the way it affects people's lives, how much they really enjoy everything about that film. And I think I'm very lucky to have just kind of stumbled into it,
Sure.
thanks to Bob,
Well, yeah, thanks to Bob, and that's just like, it's so fun as I get to talk with, various people like you that were there, like Perry, and even, I've had Alan on and John and all that. And it's just like, it's just, you just start talking kind of dumb luck with some of these people, and all of a sudden, like I didn't really know what I was into, and this is part of iconic cinema history. All of a sudden, you're just like, really?
And
All
dumb
right.
luck is the right phrase, boy. The right phrase.
Oh my gosh. Well, speaking of the convention, so I was saying Sean Fuller with the Slasher Stashers, he says that his wife Michelle always gives Ed markers. He'll know who, and she's in the chat right now too, saying, "Hey
Oh
Ed."
God, of course. Where's my? I'm going to be down there for Lori in June that weekend, so I'll be looking for a fancy marker. All
There we
right.
go. Perfect. Michelle, it's great to see her in there. We've got Grinner Studios. This is an excellent individual who makes some very nice Texas Chainsaw masks. Hell of an artist. He's in here. He said, it's always good seeing Ed. I can't wait to see him in Irving next month.
There you go. There you go.
Cool. And then we got horror nerd Sam's in the house. If that is Sam, she is the one that designed my Space Corps logo, and she is the sweetest Canadian you'll ever meet. Most of them are sweet anyway, but she takes the cake.
Excellent. Excellent.
So like you say, you saw the premiere, and then you didn't see the movie for 40 years. What was that like when you were contacted to do your part in the second movie in the 80s? Were you contacted by Toby, or how did that come
have
about?
no effing idea.
Really?
I literally have no idea. My old buddy and manager, Sal Hernandez, he called me up one day. This is funny. I blame it on alcohol, but God only knows. He called me up one day and said, "Were you in the Chainsaw 2, the second Chainsaw?" And I said, "No." He said, "Really?" He said, "Oh, okay, all right. I'll talk to you later."
Uh,
And then about 2 minutes later, this goddamn text arrives with my picture in it, and the text says, "Is that you?" And I said, "Yeah, it's me. I just forgot about it." And I literally forgot about it.
oh, that's amazing.
And it was, I don't know who called. I'm guessing probably Kim or one of the producers on the film, but
Yeah.
it was just a walk on. I stood there and went ding a ding a ding a ding on the bell at the chili cook off
Yeah.
contest, and yeah, as I remember, and I'm making a lot of this up because I don't remember. It was a hot goddamn summer afternoon day, and I remember we shot on Congress Avenue somewhere in an old building, and that's it, man. And I was probably on the set for an hour and a half,
Yeah.
maybe, and it just didn't register. It didn't register, one, because the film was not part of my milieu. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, pretty funny and
That's
hard to believe, I'm sure.
so then with the scores that you did with Burns after the first one,
Uh-huh.
how did that go? I mean, was that, was that a little bit more of a timeline for, I mean, obviously you're scoring the music for it.
Right.
Um, how did that go?
Well, it was interesting. It was kind of challenging. Bob is a hard-headed little bastard, or he was anyway.
Yeah.
And he was a big fan of techno stuff, Kraftwerk, and another weird mechanical German band, and that was the antithesis of my idea of composition. I wanted to paint these lovely little vignettes and transitions and put some color and plenty of zing and zang, but Bob really wanted to have a looping, grinding synthesizer kind of thing going on in some spots. Anyway, it was a challenge, but I knew it would be. I mean, it was Bob.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what Aldo Ray, I think, was one of the names in it, an actor. And a guy that was John, what is that guy's name? I think he's had a stroke since then. John, I don't know. He was in a huge, one of those big kind of cop show, lawyer shows on TV. The one about military lawyers, JAG or something. I don't
Okay,
know.
sure.
And he played a lawyer on that for 10 or 12 years. Anyway, it was an interesting experience. It didn't go. The film was, nobody really paid any attention to it, and it wasn't what the investors had hoped for. But I mean, that's 99% of the films that people make, I
Yeah,
suspect.
sure.
It's like opening a restaurant, man. You better have another one in your back pocket, because anyway.
God, I just yeah, I just, again, the connections and the backstories of just how all of you got together and knew each other like that is just so fascinating to me. And it just,
Yeah.
I
Well, look at Gunner is my partner, my brother-in-law's. He's my brother-in-law's best man at his wedding. I knew
really,
Gunner better than anybody on the set.
oh wow,
He would go camping with us. I knew him, and he wanted to do some acting. Clearly, obviously. But yeah, I always characterize it as the two little foreign kids. Tony was born in Landstuhl, Germany, on the big military base there in 47 or 48. So, there was still, buildings were still falling in
yeah,
Germany then. And he was born there. And then Gunnar was a Viking. He was born in Iceland.
oh
So,
wow,
so these two little, Northern European kids are plopped down in a boiling hot Texas unair conditioned elementary classroom. They
yeah,
became lifelong friends because they both survived. And
yeah,
both, spoke foreign languages when they arrived.
Oh,
Isn't that
well,
wild?
I can feel that with being up north here. I can only imagine me surviving in a Texas heat summer.
Oh
It's
boy, there's no reason to do it. Don't listen to the people. This bullshit about how wonderful Austin is. It is
uh,
wonderful, but don't come playing around here in July and August unless you
yeah,
want, you know.
yeah,
It's, and September and most of October.
and boy, has that city blown up over X amount of years. I mean,
Yeah,
wha-
man. I came here as a 17-year-old. It ain't the same anymore.
yeah,
And I love it. I think it's still wonderful, but it's big time now.
yeah. It's yeah, again, like I said, when I was talking with Perry there too, because he's done a lot of
Hmm.
real estate developing in there
Oh
too, and he
yeah,
goes, it's just a completely different universe down there than what I'm used to or what we grew up with and all that.
absolutely. Boy, I'm really glad you got Perry on. That's good. He doesn't get nearly enough looks, as it were.
Yeah, well, it was great that my buddy Gilly, who was the co-producer, he was the one that got in touch with him too, because
Ah,
he's very late to the game with the convention types of things too, where
absolutely. Yeah.
that was just a little blip in an early part of his life, but he's like, I've had a career and a family and this, and he goes, I had no clue, and then whoever it was contacted him, brought him out, and all of a sudden it was like, he's like, wow, just same with you, it's just kind of this like. Really? You're like, okay, we sign this? You want
Exactly.
me to sign this? Like,
Yes, right.
sure.
What? Why? Yeah, man. It's a real trip and a wonderful one.
Well, I think it's absolutely awesome that you've embraced that and you're still actively doing that with all the fans and everything. Um, has there been anything that's really taken you off guard with something people have said to you or wanted you to sign where all of a sudden you were kind of like, whoa,
Well, that first show that I did at Frightmare, a guy came I met a guy from Germany, I think, who came there to get my signature.
mm,
He flew there to get my signature.
yes,
Another guy came to get my signature and brought an actual bona fide £1,000,000 sledgehammer.
yeah,
And he was a baker somewhere in England and brought this hammer over for me and Gunner to sign. Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff just trips me out, man. I still
yeah.
can't believe that.
Oh
That-
yes,
So, just no idea of the enthusiasm that fans bring, and they're the best.
sure,
Gunner's, I've said it a lot of times. Gunner told me, because I'm sitting there next to him, going, what's going on, man?
yeah,
Who are all these people and blah blah blah. And he said, yeah, it's really something if you're not used to it. And he said, fan the fans, horror fans in particular, are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life.
good,
And I'm going, it's a horror, are they gonna, throw up on me? I mean, what's going on? He
yeah.
said, no, 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 these are fabulous people, man.
And it really seems to be true for the majority. You'll have your outliers of people that are just kind of really out there, but it's paralleled in like heavy metal music and stuff too. It's such an aggressive, especially even just the concert atmosphere. I mean, it can be kind of violent feeling, but at the core,
Sure.
everybody's happy. It's a
Right.
community. It's like you're in a mosh pit and you get knocked over. You got 30 people picking you up. And
Yep.
you okay?
Yep.
And it's just it's such a to me I just see it as such a balance in life of you might have this aggression but you're so happy but it's people I think people gravitate to that
I think they really do. You're
yeah
absolutely right. They gravitate to it. And I found, I think, in some cases, this genre is kind of a refuge for kids that have, something bent on them, maybe a body part that isn't like everybody else's,
sure
and they have to deal with that and all of the dreadfulness that children can visit on other people. But when you go to a movie like, whatever, you see people depicting kind of what you feel represents you,
yeah
and it's like, I never had any idea of that tie-in. So there's quite a bit of that I found. I've met some lovely people who are kind of hiding their, you know, misformations or whatnot,
Sure.
uh, because they're uncomfortable, but they're comfortable there. They're
Yeah.
comfortable around us. They're not getting, you know, judged by the perfect football, you know,
Right.
cheerleader types, you know.
You know, and that in itself right there, that's just such a beautiful, space for, to have that happen because
Absolutely.
I'm sure on their day to day, that's what they do is they live more, secluded and quiet and that, and
Right.
you actually get to feel like you can let your guard down a little bit and,
Absolutely. That's the
enjoy
sense I've
life a
gotten.
bit.
Yep.
Wow. When you talk about, those people that just flew out just for that, it
Uh-huh.
reminds me too. I had like there was a small band that I followed out of Baltimore, and they decided to break up, call it quits at some point, and I took a
Mm-hmm.
Greyhound bus over to go see them. But when I
Mm-hmm.
was there waiting in line, there were people that flew over from the UK just for them, and this was not some big time band, and that blew my mind too. I'm just like, wow, like that's not cheap to make that kind of
Oh
commitment,
God,
and
no.
it just shows fandom that it's just like that. Yeah, I mean, music to me has always just been before horror, before anything. I mean, I've been to more concerts than I can ever imagine. It's
Cool.
every part of my life, and I just I need that, and
Well, I mean, it was what I did for the vast majority of my life up until about you know, 88 or 85 or 88 when computers started to make put their foot down, as it were,
yeah,
into the business world. And I thought I could do that.
sure,
And oddly enough, uh, composition occupies your brain in a particular way.
mm,
And I'm not a songwriter, I'm a composer. There's a big
sure,
difference. You know, I'm not really a good songwriter, but I write music. And
hmm,
uh, it's like it it's the same, oddly enough, the same headspace as writing software.
okay,
It's the same funny kind of insular, you know, tunnel, you know, look at things, and you're just doing language.
yeah,
Just another language. So anyway, I started doing that like in the 85, 88. We started a little company here. But up until that point, I was writing music, scores for little films, advertising music, jingles, you know, industrial film scores, you know, all that kind of stuff from about se- uh, 71 or 2, all the way, well, really more 74 or 5, all the way through to 2000. That's all I did. We wrote all of the traffic safety campaign commercials for California, for the whole state,
oh, cool,
that kind of stuff.
that's amazing. Do you still have like a keyboard? Do you casually still dabble every once in a while just
Not
for
really,
pleasure?
no. No, not really. I listen a lot,
Okay,
you know, but no, not, I don't really, I do have a keyboard, but I don't ever, I have it for one of my grandchildren to try to
yeah.
trick him into playing, but
Yeah. Is it
no.
work? Does he actually play it a little bit or?
Well, he did when he was younger, but now he's got, you know, he's a great archer, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah, he's the Texas state archer. In this last year in the seventh grade, he was the top archer for all elementary school seventh graders,
Wow.
middle school in the
Oh,
state of Texas. So he's really good. So I don't pound him too much about you know,
yeah.
some Scarlatti or maybe you know, some Ray Charles. I congratulate him for being a good shooter.
Absolutely. Well, archery, I'm always so fond of that. I mean, that's such that's it's such a feel and a mental and just everything about it.
Oh yeah,
That's excellent. I mean,
excellent.
wow. Yeah, my wife got into having a longbow, and we moved
Ah,
into this town here that we've lived in now. It's just south of the cities. We've been here for about 3 years, and
uh-huh.
we saw one of the parks we went to down there. They've got this beautiful archery field outdoors and all this, and like
Really?
and it's down by like a river, and I mean it's just so just serene and peaceful. And I go, oh my god, this is like everything you could ever want for just to you step out of your busy day to day and and try to do
Exactly.
something you enjoy. It's gonna bring peace.
Absolutely. There's a lot of zen in it.
Wow, well, that's great. Good for him. Oh, excuse Excuse me. Well, Ed, I really appreciate everything that you've done. I appreciate your time. I
Yeah,
don't
man.
want to take this too long. I know it's getting a little late, and
Yeah, for me it is.
well, and again, everybody watching, there's a lot of love coming through here in the chat for you, and just really appreciating these stories and everything, because not everybody has a convention in their town where they get to come and meet people like you. So
Right.
they're
Right.
the bigger majority where we don't get this. So these kind of nice, really good one-on-ones like this, I mean, it really shows a lot of insight, and it means a lot. And I think you would understand that because you've gotten to see the convention side and what it means to people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really well. I'm fortunate. I'm very lucky, and I realized that. I realized it the first night. It's like, holy shit! People really, they know what they're doing. They know what they love,
Yeah.
and they like me, and Gunnar and Ed, and
Yes.
they're fans, man.
Wow. Well, everybody that's in the Irving area next month, you can go see Ed out there, and I'm sure we'll be seeing him in a couple other ones. So make sure we follow his Facebook page, and I see that's fairly updated with your next, adventures. I saw the Texas Chainsaw page was promoting another thing. Maybe that is the Irving one there.
Yeah, I think that was the Irving one, but we're doing one in Louisville,
Oh, all right.
called Spawn of Scarefest.
Ooh,
And
like
it should be pretty good. That's in June. I think the 20. No, I don't know.
Sure.
Don't get me lying. And then the other one is we're doing, like I mentioned, Lori's show halfway to Halloween in San Antonio.
Cool.
I love it. She does some great shows, and we'll be down there. And that, I'm pretty sure, is in June. I don't know. I'm just full of shit. I have no idea. Look it up.
We'll look it up, and maybe we've got a Crypticon convention up here in Minneapolis. It's the only horror one we got, and it'd be lovely if they enticed you to come on up one day. It'd be nice to meet you in person. Absolutely.
Oh, love to. We'll tell them to, open the door and call me up. Invites are accepted.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Well, the mighty Ed Guinn, everybody. I appreciate your time, sir, and I hope you have a great evening, and thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for inviting me.
All right. See you later, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
In the vast expanse where the cosmos sighs, drifts an ancient tale as old as the skies. A figure from stories now mythified, Space Corpse goes orbiting by. He once roamed planets, oh far and wide, but now he floats where the starships fly. No more breath in his chest, yet can't be denied the space cadet who died. Oh, oh, Space Corpse, in the void you glide, a spectral waltz in the galaxy's tide, floating free like a cosmic guide. Space Corpse goes orbiting by. Galaxies turn while he haunts with pride. No anchor to worlds, just space to bide. Gliding through stardust, no need to hide. This wanderer who never cried. In weightless silence where time collides, he drifts in dreams so amplified. Mysterious tales on mystic rides. Space Corpse haunts so dignified. Oh, oh, Space Corpse, in the void you glide, a spectral waltz in the galaxy's tide, floating free like a cosmic guide. Space Corpse goes orbiting by. Galaxies turn while he haunts with pride. A spectral waltz in the galaxy's tide, floating free like a cosmic guide. Space Corps goes orbiting by.